All right. Quick mic check. Doing the mic check. Looks like it's working, but don't have confirmation yet. Wait for that to get there. Come on, mic check. There it is. All right. What do I do? What do I do? Technical analysis. Candle analysis on month, week, and day using structure and ERL, IRL. Looking for draws on liquidity. Wow, excuse me. Then I'll do smart can concept analyses, month, week, day session using 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute. For each analysis, look at where we are, accumulation, manipulation, distribution in terms of time, and then I'll look at time-based liquidity draws, and then I'll look at price-based liquidity draws. And then if there's any projections going on, I'll look for that. Finally, I'll have the Q2 of New York game session and use my 3 minute for confirmation or lack thereof for whatever scenario I see playing out based on my GAN assessment. Within the market, I want to see a clear scenario. I want the 5 minute to be aligned, whether that be a recent PDA in the direction of the trade or reversal PA on the 1 minute off of a 5 minute distribution level. It can also be a higher time frame distribution level, so like an hourly or 15 minute is just as suitable. Key here, and I've been breaking this rule recently, and I need to stop doing that. So today, very important, does my M1 impulse structure align with the trade? If not, does the reversal P align with the trade? And it can't just be like the start of a reversal, but I really want to see either a really good hammer candle or an engulfing candle on the M1. Preferably an engulfing candle at the least. Has after a sweep. Okay, so once I get that, have I swept any internal liquidity? That can be any of the blocks, fair value gap, or internal ERL. Internal, external. If I'm not well priced on my M1 impulse or reversal PA, I want a short-term high or low on the M1 or M5 liquidity to be swept. Okay, if all of that's met, I'm looking for the trade. If I'm looking for the trade, I'm looking for either a sweep entry, which would be if I've swept, then I want essentially what I need this to reverse and then come back, grab liquidity, and I'm looking for that sweep. And I'm looking for a sweep of any of these levels, and then an engulfing candle immediately after the sweep, or impulse structure created in the direction of the trade. So if any of that's possible, happens, then I'm looking for unmitigated blocks, manipulation, order, or breaker, and then I'm looking for a limit entry off of those with a stop below the low. Half off at 1 hour, 30 to 40% off at 1 hour, 30 to 40% off at 3 hour, second deviation, M5 low Q target, whichever comes first, and then trail to high time frame targets. Management, I want, that's funded. Okay. So that's one entry. The other entry is the advanced market structure. We had a really nice one yesterday in the fair value gap. Typically, I want the fair value gap to be created in fact, it's a requirement that is created within either an M1 order block or an M1 fair value gap or something of that sort. Can I get 2 hour to second deviation? And if so, then I'll take the trade. Same sort of management. So that's that. I'll do the same, I think, third trailing drawdown. My 50K, I only have 700 funded, so I could theoretically do like a $350 trade, go for a 2-to-1. But I really want these 150Ks funded by the end of the week as well, and they've got a little bit longer to go. So I'm going to stick to the 1/3 drawdown. I have pretty much full drawdown, so $800 per trade. And if I fail, I fail, right? It's the cost. I need to accept that, and risk is our friend. So I'm going to do a third. I'm going to trade the equivalent of 3 valuation accounts at a third. So I'm actually trading 4 valuation accounts, but 2 of them are at a 6 drawdown. So I'm working on those at the same time. So can pass 50K. If I do, that's great, fantastic. And then we'll try to keep going on the 150Ks to try to get those done by the end of the week. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna set up my. It's off screen, but I'm setting up another. Group for just my 50Ks. Or sorry, 150Ks. Because if I pass 50K, I'm gonna close out of that and then continue on with 150s. So 64, 3, 5. Let's see, 60. Yeah, that should work. And so ahead of time, if I pass 50K, I'm going to go to the 150Ks, and I'll be doing the same thing. I'll calculate the trailing dollar down remaining, do a third of that, and that should be closer to 1,500, 1,600. I think it's 1,600-ish. Interesting. Yeah, 1,600 times 3, 2,400 plus 3. It's a little bit more. I'm curious about that. Anyway, I'll be doing the third trillion drawdown and try to pass those. Now, if I pass 50K, I should be a little bit closer on one of the 150Ks. So I've got that group set up for that, and that's that. Cool beans. All right. So the next step is review past trades. So let's have a look at sort of this week and what's been going on. I want to look at this note, sort of. Right, so I need to get better about really looking at fear triggers and greed triggers. I took a trade yesterday that was premature. I didn't do this too well. I'm not gonna look at those too much. But I want to look at this one. Right, this is like I was saying in my review of the trip plan. Here's all the negatives. Right, so. One thing that I've noticed more and more is when we hit these H1 projections, price retraces. So we're coming off some projections this morning. So I'm maybe I have a bearish buyers coming in. We'll see when the market opens. Even though we're bullish overall. But here's the key, right? So M3 closed down below 930. I was effectively trying to play a bounce off of this M5 fair value gap. There was I'm sort of mad I don't have this out, but this is a 15-minute fair value gap that was forming. And this is not reversal PA, and that's the issue, right? I'm impulse down, and I'm trading against the impulse back from the premium of the impulse, right? So I'm trading long from premium on a bear thing without good reversal PA, and just a no trade, right? Shouldn't have even been on the S10 yet. I need to wait to get on the S10 until shit starts to go. The other thing is with this 3 minute, it's a little bit hard to see here, but we're in this this is a Q2 range there, and so we come down, hit liquidity, and closed up, which is probably what I was thinking. It's like, we closed up on that 3, we're gonna go, but we never closed above this 930, so it just wasn't confirmed that we're gonna continue yet, and need to be better at that, right? Follow the M1 PA. This is bearish. What is it doing? It came back, grabbed this fair value gap, tapped the 930 open, and continued down. So if anything, I should have been looking at this PA. You close below there and even been able to short that right there potentially. That would have been a hell of a short. So M3 fails to give the sign on the on just sort of Q2 range, coming off an H1 projection, M1 PA is down. Not a good trade. Let's go look at a good trade. Draw liquidity, previous day low. We hadn't hit it, right? So here's your M15. Impulse is down, continuing down. M5 had blown through this, blown through that. So your continuation again, right? M1, impulse down. Guess what? Liquidates an ERL into the premium of a bear structure. And then what is all that doing? You have this S10 fair value gap here. And that fair value gap's within this jump start fair value gap on the M1. You form the advanced market structure. You have 2R to your projection, which would be off of this, right? So I just entered market pretty much right when that closed. I just entered and got that trade and then trailed down. So I had this jump start entry on that M1 to there. That was my third profit target. So I had previous day low. I had 1-to-1, previous day low. And previous day low lined up perfectly with that projection. The jump start on the M1 and then trailed out right there. There were some other targets to the downside, but at this point, this actually ended up being a massive reversal right there. So what are the takeaways here? Follow the build the high time frame, but wait for the M1 to confirm, right? Even here, notice there's no really reversal PA up. Instead, it wicks, closes back down below, right? And that's continuation down. So really like that trade and need to do more of that. We can go look at maybe, let's go look at like this trade, which would have been a sweep entry. So start from the top, right? Hourly open was right here. The prediction was we're going to have a bull candle in the hour. In fact, we didn't, but got to be part of the manipulation of the hour. M5 and M3 had swept and held the 730 open. So this is a case where, look, we swept liquidity here and we swept the 730. We tapped an H1 order block. All of this is within this Q2 range. And so the target was at least to break out of the range again, right? Within that, you also had this M5 target off of this block right here is effectively what I used to get that target. I believe maybe it was something else, but you also had the ERL right here. So M5, this is a sweep entry, so it's that reversal off of targets. And then same thing on the M3, right? So the M3 sweeps and closes back. In fact, it closes back above the 50% and then continues moving. And so that's where, I get that idea. You have all this M1 liquidity. I had this H1 wick right there that was forming that I was looking at as potentially coming back down, grabbing that. So M1, it's not really it's continuation PA here, right? So we're going up. That's sort of the reversal PA right here. And then it comes back down into this M1 structure, grabs liquidity, closes back up. Well, what is that? That's grab liquidity, close back up. Here's your order block, right? The longest body in this sequence. So the liquidity grab, and then so I entered on that, and there's your off of this jump start. You have this and this. So those are the first two targets, and then the third target, I believe, was, I see this lining up with something. I assume maybe, I'm not sure where this came from. Maybe it was M3 or something. Probably that right there. Yeah, probably that M3. That's your manipulation. So that's the sweep entry. So now we've looked at a sweep in an AMS, and we've looked at an entry that didn't work based on me not following the M1 structure. Follow the structure. All right. That should be enough. Let's go create a log day. One of these daily reviews. Review trade plan. I am confident in my abilities and I trust my instincts. But I'm going to embrace uncertainty and trust the process. So the process is key. I'm capable of overcoming adversity and achieving my goals. I've faced some adversity this week. in my mental game this week, I've traded outside of plan. Important to get back on track and trade the plan. Watch that. Have one structure. All right, that's it, right? That's what we need to do. So I'm gonna pull this over. And now let's go into the analysis. Let me close this. What did it just do? I'm not sure. Let me close this. Dadgummit. Okay, we got that. What's going on here? Notebook. Let me close this. Oh, there we go. I got this anyway. Perfect. Got that. Sorry, I know this is probably a pain in the ass to watch. Close that. Don't need to worry about that. OBS. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's go look at our monthly. So I'm, more and more anticipating that this is going to at least attack this high this month. We're in the second week, so second quarter. We had what looked like a rather big manipulation yesterday, and so that could be in line with us tacking here. Now, whether we're going to go all the way here this month, I don't know. That'd be a huge move, but I do anticipate us here and potentially closing up this month. And that's still playing out, so we're in the accumulation phase. So this hourly, notice that we're not going to have a fair value gap down. We came back down. That's the monthly wiki Q. Sorry, the hourly, the weekly, my bad. So again, I would anticipate that our next draw on liquidity on the weekly is up here, especially considering that we're trading back up into this. Potentially just previous week's high is a target for this week at this point. Notice that we've come off fair value gaps, liquidity sweep, all of that. So the candle assessment potentially by tomorrow afternoon is to break that week high, or at least close up and then continue next week to the high. I don't think week low is in the works now. Anything can happen. So if we look at our monthly GAN assessment, and this is what I was talking a little bit about on the monthly candle. If we look at this, right, and just look at the H4, what's happened? We have this big SMT divergence here. ES liquidated that and then shot up, and this was all yesterday. So this was a massive manipulation yesterday. And it's in line with us creating this range first part of the month and then attacking the high of that range. And then our previous month's high is going to be somewhere in here. Now, right, that's our previous month high, whereas that's the overall high. So this is sort of the liquidity target. That's a big draw on liquidity that I see. Notice that you do have this projection off of this manipulation here that's still valid. And we've hit this second projection. Guess what? We came back, grabbed some liquidity, and we're continuing up. So more immediate price action. This was the target yesterday off of this manipulation, which was the start of Q2. Guess what? Manipulation. So Q1, manipulation of internal liquidity. Q2, we hit the second projection. We've actually now closed. Have we closed above? Yes. Yes? No. No. So this is, the close here is 910. So we haven't quite closed above this. So, but we've definitely pushed it. We've closed above this balanced price range. We haven't closed above this fair value gap, but the balanced price range you have. So you've got this draw on liquidity right here, more immediate draw on liquidity. But if we look at like projections, we've got this up here. And then yesterday we created this jump start up to here. So again, like I was saying earlier, it's potential that we could come back in here. This would be the fair value gap that I would predict or suggest and look for continuations out of that, right? That is the jump start here. And then this is your jump start target. Where does that take you? That takes you just under the previous month's low. And then if we get all the way up, we can go up to there. So the GAN assessment has us bullish on the month, ranging, accumulating, taking liquidity, and then continuing up. I wonder what this is from. We'll find out. Let's look at the weekly. So in the weekly assessment, right, we had a range here. That was not the best of liquidity grabs right there within the range, because this candle is actually part of the Q2 on the week. So it was a sweep, internal to this range, and then you create effectively these equals, and yesterday we grabbed those and then are continuing up. So on the H1, after yesterday we have a couple of projections to the upside again. So this one is based on this one manipulation candle, right? It closed below that, closed below that. It didn't quite close below here, but it did grab these liquidity to close, so we'll call that a manipulation block. So that's your projection off of that, and then we have this is your jumpstart projections off of these two fair value gaps. So again, it could come down. Notice that this H4, the first H4 would not cover. We would not reach into this jumpstart. So if we hold on this first H4, then I don't know what that means, but effectively, it could be that we don't come all the way back down to these fair value gaps before reaching this jumpstart entry. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for sell side sweeps based on the weekly for essentially continuation. Why? Because this was the initial, let's see, that was a sweep internal to the range. There wasn't really much. This is really your best sweep, right? We've distributed all of this except for this one, right? So this was a sweep within the first quarter. They gave us this projection here that we've now met. We've closed above, looks like. That close is 31375. So yeah, so we've closed above that projection, which would suggest that we're going to head for the next projection up there. And now we've had a further manipulation internal to the range for continuation off of it. So again, bullish. But just like yesterday, right? Yesterday I was bullish and it did turn out, but in the morning session, what did we do? The morning session was a big liquidity sweep, right? And so that could be what we see today. We just got this down candle, and then we're going back up. So if we close up there, then that would be a sign that maybe this is our next liquidity sweep, but we don't have that confirmation yet. I'm not going to draw it. And potentially we have a draw to the downside to grab H4 liquidity down here. So that's the weekly assessment. If you look at our daily, what's happened? Well, on the daily, we had effectively this jump start internal to the first quarter range, met the fourth, coming down. So we grabbed external liquidity on the range, and then we're coming down, and potentially right now our target again would be down to this H4 here. You've got Asia low. We've already taken out London low. I believe we'll have London high that has not been taken out. So if we can sweep London high, Asia low, even now we swept London low, so this could be the continuation trade off of London. Then we'd be looking for this as our first target, London high, right? So on the daily, we've had London manipulated the highs and then pushing us down. Now we've reached London lows. But that's after grabbing some liquidity, buy side liquidity. So the continuation could be down. We're in a sort of tight range here. And that could be the case, is that we're just going to be in a little bit of a tight range today. But I would argue that our current drawn liquidity is down here, based on sort of the weekly, that it probably needs to grab some more liquidity to continue on the H4. Now, conversely, right, it could pop up, grab this H1 projection, which is that manipulation from yesterday before coming back down to, grab the jumpstart liquidity that was also set up yesterday. So maybe leaning bearish until we hit this 4-hour fair value gap, and that would be a sweep of the Asian lows, and then looking for a reversal PA back up to continue the push up. But immediate price action on the M15, I would argue, is down off of sweeping highs, meeting this projection effectively, which is now debunked anyway. If we look at this would be your manipulation leg there. Oh, that's this, huh? So this would be your M15 manipulation. In fact, we could probably just take it like there, right? Current middle only. So let's draw a box for that. 243 to 26650. So that's our projection. Notice at the bottom of that projection is the kill zone. So I would sort of want to see that filled before looking for longs. Unless we just get a reversal out of here and get the real confirmation that this is over. You know, the fourth projection is down here, so if it breaks that, you could arguably come all the way down there. So that's valid as well. I don't see much else here. I guess, is this a jump start? It is, but it was sort of invalidated by this. So that's the only manipulation that I see on the M15 off of this manipulation block closed above that, right? To there. Now we're at this daily opening gap. Notice that we bounced off that, so do have to get below that. If it's going to be a bull day, you know, great. We can liquidate below the daily open as well and go from there. Now let's take a peek at the session. Before I do that, let me save this, refresh. Figured as much. Save, refresh. There we go. So let's get rid of this. All right, if we just look at the session, 6 o'clock was there, 7:30 is there. So we've got the low here and the high here on the session. What do? We swept the highs and we're distributing low. If we look at our range, it's going to be this. So we're in this range. That's our 7:30 to 9 o'clock range. So it's engulfing the session open range. So you really want to see sort of 7:30 manipulation off of that. Again, potentially come down, grab this, go. 7:30 open was right here. So we've manipulated the highs and starting to distribute down. I don't see anything in particular on the M5 that I would argue would be like a good manipulation projection. You know, we have this. Oh, I'm on the 15. What am I doing? No wonder. No wonder. What's going on here? This should be 15 and this should be 5. Yeah, so again, you know, arguably this is the manipulation block, but then that got manipulated as well. You don't have a jump start to the downside. So I think today is going to be wait for price to develop a little bit. Small bias to the downside here to grab these, and then I'd be looking for a bounce off of that. Could arguably try to trade down to those, but I mean that is a possibility, right? You could trade to the H low because we swept the morning session high and then we're dropping from there. So you had your manipulation within the. If we look at sort of like this as your manipulation, we've hit the second on that, and we haven't closed below. Now it's coming back for this liquidity, but it still hasn't closed below this. That said, you're at your 7:30 opening and holding it, right? So you came back up, closed below, came back up, held below, closed, holding below. So if we hold below again, target's down here. Now this is a news wick. Let's check to see if there's any other news today. Medium impact mortgage rates. Go check Forex Factory. Yep, same thing, just a medium impact on Forex Factory. Let's double check our SMT. Okay, so we had some SMT with this, which is further indicating that we're going to start to the downside. You know, that's going to be on the 15-minute too. So that was our SMT, and we have the confirmation based on that. And then Q's the weaker asset. So currently bear bias coming into the open. Look for sweeps down into here, and then reversals off of that for the higher time frame bull bias. That would be the play. And with that, I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back at the open. Let me set up my risk, make sure it's right. It should be 4K. And 4K. And set these up. 5 accounts, max is 8. Order sizing. 5 accounts, max is 8. And that ought to do it. So take a break here, and I'll be back. back. So I'll peek at this. Everything's looking good. So we have this there. Our weekly Q would be down here. Again, I can anticipate us getting the continuation out of this H4, H1 here. It'd be Ghost Protocol out of here. Right? So that Asia low. So there's a lot of confluence to us getting down there and then continuing the push up to meet some of those other projections. I don't see anything above the 15 minute for projections to the downside. And those projections bring us right to there. So if we meet that, and that's where I might anticipate us continuing. No, not motion, that's not what I want. In fact, I'm going to just close that. Get to my notebook, sort of some more pre-market stuff. Really focus on that one impulse today, following that with in line with everything else. That is the game plan. Put some jams on today. Pretty sore from the gym this week. Notice we've met this fourth right there. So again, that's a reason for us to potentially continue down. I really don't want to go long until we hit these 15 projections. Would there be a reason for me to do that? Not really. Right, if we look at the 5 minute. See, we swept this short-term low right here. We did break and close above that, but that just brought us back to the 730. We're getting a reversal off. Notice that we closed below here as well. So we're sort of trading in that. We've got this volume imbalance right there. Coming out of this fair value gap, holding it pretty much. So I'd say our M5 structure is this. It's our M5. Right, and we come back into the premium and we're continuing down off of that. It's met this second off of this time-based sweep right here. You pretty much, that's pretty much the 3 minute one. So notice the 3 minute. We swept this liquidity, but not the best liquidity sweep. We don't have a jump start on the 3 minute either. But this is what I am not surprised to see here. So let's see what happens when we get down to these levels here, because these are the critical levels. That 15 minute, could come all the way down into here based on the 3 minute. But sweep the open, sweep the lows. Keep our eyes on ES. ES has already swept the lows. So could be seeing some sort of SMT there. There's the open. Everything playing out. There's kill zone low, and there's Asia low. Here's the fair value gap, H4, H1. See how we close here on M1. Notice we had at the open just a little bit of sweep up into this M1 fair value gap to continue down. Also notice that this was sort of a sweep, so we can look at this as potential distribution on that one. I think we hit that. See if we follow through on that. You got this M3 projection's already been hit. We got the fourth one down here, M15 right here. This is good impulse to the downside. It's getting generated. Okay, I need to put this stuff in here. Now what I can do is stay a little more organized here. So I'm not too keen on following the impulse through here. You do have this volume imbalance that M3 came back up and closed below, so that indicates that we are going further down. But notice, sorry, M5. Notice that we hit the M5 second projection as well. So we throw that in there. Or sorry, fourth. So that was the fourth projection on the M5. M15 hasn't. M15 is holding this projection so far. On M3, that's a sweep of the open. This is looking reversey, sort of what we predicted. Are we going to go tack the London high and then continue on this move as predicted? Looks like it. So that's pretty good on the M1. Right. That's reversal PA right there. So creating our impulse to the upside. M3. See how it closes. It's just going to go off on us. So that's our M1 right there. See if we pull back in. Notice that we are still in the lower quarter of the Q2 range. If this turns into manipulation, there's your M3 manipulation leg. So really, that, you know, that's the impulse on the M1. Here's your fair value gap there. We would need some sort of sweep here for this to work. You know, we're at the daily open again. We're inverting that fair value gap. Notice that the M3 hasn't closed yet. So this projection is not really valid, right? That's a hold of this M1 fair value gap there. And that was reversal EPA, could potentially trade it there, but you didn't really get like a sweep of anything that I'm interested in. M3 did not close above here yet, so we're still below the 930 open. You did tap your M1 order block there. Sort of getting a continuation here. See if we sweep this liquidity level and get a good reversal off of that. Yeah, so this was arguably your entry right here. It just didn't sweep anything that I was interested in, except for maybe the daily open. That was a good level. Now here's our 730 test. If we break this, we're super bullish. Right now, that's just an extension of this range, this impulse structure. Unless we get real impulsive move through, which it looks like we are. See if we get continuation on that. And see how our M3 closes with respect to the 730 open. Is that AMS? No. You have this jump start now on S10. We're in it now. Notice we did get this. But we could be inverting it right now. And that jump start that I just drew is debunked. Here's that M1 liquidity that I was looking at potentially could get grabbed. Get grabbed, interesting. We're in the discount now of the M1. If we close down here, we're gonna have effectively an inverse there. Notice that the 3 minute did not close above the 730. Back into the daily open. Five minute, be interesting to see if that closes above or below the 930. It's inversion on that one. That's getting flipped right away. This is pretty impulsive here. You know, that's effectively a manipulation block right there. That was a close on the 3 minute back, not quite a close. But you've essentially got that setting up. Some targets to there. I don't know if he's going to come back down there. But that inversion is looking like it's going to get wiped out for the continuation. We didn't grab this liquidity, but we did come back down into discount with quite a sweep. Yeah, you refuted that inversion now. So I like this level down here. Could get AMS out of here. So I'm actually right in there. Two-thirds. I'll just exit market. I passed the 50K. I'll go to the others now. So I took that pretty much a one-to-one trade to get funded there. That was fun. What I like to do is get back in all these evals. I'm trying to figure out what my risk is now. So my 150, I have 5,000. What's 1/3 of 5,000? 1,200 times 3 is 4,600. 13 is 49, so 1,300. Just doesn't make sense, right? No, I'm doing that wrong. It is 1,600. Yeah, 1,600. So let's do 1,600 times 3. So multiples of 3 right now. So now I want to adjust these. That's really 4,800. question is, do I get right back in here? It's allowing me to. So I could get back in. It's like 25 maybe. Do I want to, or should I wait for a liquidity sweep? We failed to close above the 730, so I'm just going to give it a little bit. The M5's there. I get a re-entry here. We also broke this block here to the downside. How's our 15-minute candle now? So 15 did close above the 930. See if we get some sort of sweep here. You know, there's a lot of liquidity now. You know, that was a sweep of the 930 again and holding above. About to form this. So you're building this liquidity here that could get swept. So there's a sweep of that. Haven't had reversal off of that. We're just failing to displace above the 730, which makes me hesitant on this. It's a pretty down candle right there. See if that gives a good reversal off of that. That does right there. There's going deeper. So we can displacement on the M1. The downside. We're still holding the structure, so this is all this liquidity here. Looking pretty displacey though. Take a lot to overcome that candle, wouldn't it? So grabbing more liquidity potentially. But notice how you're closing below these 730s. So I think you can switch bias to the downside and follow this M1. Where to though, right? But that's pretty impulsy there. We're technically still holding this. You know, what I wouldn't want to see is that this closes above here. Then I wouldn't be too interested in the shorts. But if we come back up into the premium here and then get some reversal PA on the S10, I think that's valid. The question is, are we gonna hunt this, right? Got that projection there on the M15, but we still haven't closed below the second deviation, which is why my sense is still bullish, but we're below the 730 open now. We really rejected that. So if we look at that as like our session, right? Sweep of high, continue. But we've hit this projection. Now we haven't hit this projection, so that could be the play. I'm not trading this sweep right here. There we go. Down it goes. So that breaks this. Breaks this. breaks this, all of that liquidity is gone, right? But notice if we sweep that level there, let's get one of those back. At this point, actually, that's probably 5-minute LQ that is just sweeping. Notice that it closed below, right? So on the S10, you can sort of see the market maker model in effect. Now we've hit this projection here on that one. Notice that we closed below. Oh, but this is no longer valid on that one. So we'll get rid of that. So far, there's no jump start. Trading within that, trading within this. Got this M15 projection. So akin to yesterday. Even if we're going to be bullish on the day, this morning stuff is what's doing, grabbing sell side liquidity, right? Let's get impulse on that 3-minute too. Notice the 7:30 open, right? Close below, close below, close below, dump. This is sort of your most recent M3. You could look at this as potentially the impulse and look at trades from there. Sorry, not M3, M1. Fair value gap. Notice that we're holding this 5-minute projection still. This is AMS forming again. Out of that fair value gap on that one. If we hold that high, right? And now it's not going to be anyway because you're high. So this is again reversal PA. We've got this inversion now. We swept the M5 liquidity, so this could be what we're looking for the real move. You know, just had to grab some more liquidity. Trading below the open, we'd be trading against. You know, let's see how this closes. Especially if we could be creating, you know, a breaker block. This is your manipulation block on the M1. So it came back into there. You got that jump start on the S10. Might get a jump start on the M1. We've hit this projection on the M3. So we're coming off of that. You have this manipulation block on the M3. We're back into this daily open, this fair value gap through it. So a little bit of caution there. But what I want to see is, where does that put us? So we're at that projection. That's the S10 projection that we just hit off of that jump start right here. At this point, if we close up here, this is a breaker block now. And we've got effectively a balanced price range here to trade from. We're in the breaker block. heading up. We don't have a jump start there. This is really good reversal PA though. Like arguably, right, you're getting this impulse now. You're back above 930 open. There's your sweep. You look at this as your M3 projection, pulls us into London high. So if we use this as our M1 impulse. Now notice that it didn't break a high here. So you could argue that this isn't structure yet. That we're just back into here and we effectively just hit sort of that order block. All that said, you know, M5 just closed back above the 930 open. M3 has the rejection of that. It hasn't broken this fair value gap yet. Potential that holds to the downside. Looks like we just barely closed above that. So it'll be telltale what happens in here. This is your breaker block on the M1. See who comes back down for this fair value gap here. You know, conversely, if you're considering that we haven't broken a high, you'd be looking at this and we're trading for the premium of this impulse structure on the M1. That M3 is holding the fair value gap right now to the downside. And the 930 open, so I'm going to wait on that. Let's see how this behaves right here. Because this is where if it's gonna hold from here. That jump start is still valid, right? That's effectively like a sweep of that level there off that jump start. You're not getting good reversal PA on the S10, so I'm not too interested in this. Unless we get a real impulse out, and then I'd follow it. Could be that it's setting up some liquidity right here to get swept, to continue the move. So if we look at this as our impulse, we're in the discount, so we could be trading already. But I don't see sort of a nice entry model out of here yet. In fact, it's setting up for AMS to the downside right there. That refutes it. That's the impulsy stuff I'd be interested in. Didn't close above this. 1 minute left here. We held that fair value cap, so again, it could be setting up this some M1 liquidity here to sweep. Doesn't need to at this point. It's already gotten back down into premium. If it comes and sweeps that and holds here, though, that's a AMS out of the lower fair value gap. This is also Ghost Protocol off of that. Could have been trading that. We've closed above this now, so you have your S10 structure back up. Let's see, it's about to be 10 o'clock. You know, there goes M30. Gets out of the M30. If it came back down and swept now, I wouldn't be as interested in it. Just failing to close above that 930 open. Really good on that hour for continuation. Right, grab the fair value gap and go. Swept that liquidity. It still hasn't broken a high here. I wouldn't be necessary. This is not impulse anymore. I'm just looking at this as like your overall structure on the M1. So if we come back in here and get a good reversal out of this. And I might not go all the way down and break that low. Effectively, that could have been the entry right there, that sweep of those S10 levels. And the daily open again. Right, so the close up here could have been the trade. If we close where we are, we're setting up another liquidity level there. So there's some liquidity to come grab within the structure. Notice how the 3 is still not closing above this 930. So the 3 is technically down, right? But we're getting sort of the reversal off of key levels. Interesting that 5-minute close above 930. 15-minute did not. There's a 3-minute close above 930. It's a pretty bullish sign. Got this volume imbalance here that is grabbing too. And this thing is priming. This is really just expanding the structure. It's not like great impulse out of there. Got all this liquidity that it should be hunting right here. No short-term lows that we're sweeping yet. This would technically be AMS out of here if we hold this fair value gap. It's a decent trade, really. Take this trade as such. But that made a lower low, so it's not going to be AMS. Five-minute close back down right at the daily open. This could be the liquidity hunt. It's an M1 level right at the EQ of that structure. Pretty good reversal off of that. I'm stealing some here. I got in on this. I got way too little risk on that. Oh yeah, I did the fucking... One minute's not looking too good off of that. Comes back down. So I had this crazy ass trade right here. I was way undersized though. Unfortunately. Sort of want to just throw right back in. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm out of that trade. I could have 17 contracts. Forgot about that. You know what else? At this point, it's time to trade the minis because of the risk size. And what else? We just swept more liquidity. Get the reversal PA off of that. Now, before I get fucking wrapped up in this bullshit, like, this is back down below, so I'm not gonna take any fucking trade off of that. Well, that's pretty good fucking thing in it, and that could close us back up there. I want to see the M1 get that though. Like, let's see if this really was a liquidity hunt right there. Get rid of these macros. I gotta get used to ordering. You don't have impulse down. That fair value gap did hold, but you've got the liquidity from it now. I'm really not opposed to this trade right here. That was my opportunity to enter. That's all right. We don't have to catch the bottom here. That was the trade idea. Back to 930. That's great PA on the M1, right? Effectively got, yeah, that was the entry right there. What I was looking at. Here it goes. There it goes. This is the impulse I like. You switch your M1s. Get this impulse out. No S10 jump start yet. That is going to give us a brief jump start. Be great if this 3-minute close back above the open. That would be just a telltale sign that this thing's off to the races. And you're still technically in this range here. You haven't broken it. But that 3-minute close above is like, okay, this thing's gone, right? You've got this jump start here. Could almost just trade that jump start. There's 7:30 open. London highs coming. That was a trade. I hesitated. That was the account passer. Right to that 4th jump start too. Three-minute close finally. Right, this thing's taking off now. So I missed this trade. Let's get rid of all of this. But this thing's a goner. London high is coming. You know, look at that volume imbalance right there, even like fucking, and then just straight up. 730's gone. The longs are back in play. We've swept Asia low. We've engineered and grabbed liquidity. 3 minutes back up above 730 open. Bummer, dude. Yeah, this thing can go all the way to London high. There's bearish impulse on M1. If we look at the first fair value gap, it's right here, and then this actually is a fair value gap. So that jump starts this. It's almost already met its objective. Seeing some, not all. Let's look at our 15 minutes. Could be really bullish now too. So now we got this 15-minute sort of projection there. I mean, we've got targets. So trading this retrace. Right, we need either an M1 liquidity sweep in here. Wouldn't necessarily take that as, I know it's a big down candle if we close back above. I guess you're sweeping midnight open, but I don't want to trade it from the premium without that. That would be against my trade plan. That sliver there. Now it could come out of this, you know, come liquidate at 730 again. Maybe get this M1 if this turns into M1 liquidity here. Can't be looking for an entry yet. We could have AMS out of here potentially form. Look at me. Can't be looking for an entry yet. Look at this AMS forming. That's funny. Here's some external liquidity that could form. So it's not formed yet, but it could form. There's a break of the high there. You know, London high is the draw right now, and these projections. There's the fourth projection on this M1 jumpstart tapped, and it's coming back. So makes sense to come back for liquidity maybe. Notice I'm expanding this because I don't see more impulse from here. Also notice that I traded something like this, like it's not very good RR. Here comes London. Here comes London. Starting to get sort of impulse on that one. Definitely impulsing on M3 and M5. I mean, everything's bullish. We've got our signals. Market's good. Missed this trade, unfortunately. Here comes London. Here comes London. Look at this chilling right under London high. That's fucking hilarious. That's pretty impulsy, though, I'd say. So you might think that this could be... Is it impulsy? I mean, you know, you broke through there. So you get this fair value gap here. You could argue that's your M1 structure. It's definitely not my favorite. Rather see it come back down. If London high doesn't get taken out, I would be startled. grabbed M1 liquidity within here, right? Like, but I'm not going to be longing from this high. Rather see if I'm going to take anything up there, I need more liquidity to be engineered up here, right? I mean, that's a good sweep candle there, but it's not going to offer anything. RR wise. So what I want to do is come back out here and look at like this hourly projection and see where that one's coming from. So that's from this. Let's see. That's from this. To get that, I don't mind going all the way to the next one though, right? So like objectives could be up there. That's within the other one. So I could see us breaking through this fair value gap. I could see an argument for saying there's London high finally. I could see an argument for saying this, but see, even that didn't touch the discount. So it could arguably take a trade now. If it comes back down, sweep here. We haven't hit our projections. Probably get some decent liquidity targets too that could get engineered because people are going to try to short the London high, potentially. But all of us on the hour look like boom. I mean, this was per plan today. Got two semi-okay trades and missed this bomb right here, right? I mean, that was the trade. That was the trade of the day. So just reviewing while we're waiting for something to develop. This was a reversal PA right here. Sweep, go. I got a trade in here somewhere. I think right there. Somewhere in here I got a trade past the account. Oh, earlier on. So I treated this as sort of reversal PA. I got this 1-to-1 past the account. Then the second trade was in here. And this was the good trade that I missed. I'm going to delete that. Actually, I'm going to hold that because was that even better than the one I missed? Yes, it was. Oh, no, it was the one I missed. Yeah. So I had this one, got, 3R out of that, sort of. Unfortunately, I was undersized. And then this was off of that reversal PA finally, right? So that was the one. Again, I can see us continuing up. See, that's sort of your current impulse structure. That's M5 structure, M3 structure. Notice, got a jump start on the M3 too. Pulls his way up. This hasn't been met. That's that projection, so that's a good level. No jump start on M5, it looks like. This one's already been met. This didn't sweep liquidity. So here's where we could get our liquidity sweep now. But if we don't hold that level, that's going to be sort of impulsy to the downside on that one. So I want to wait for a reversal PA on that one if it doesn't. But if it holds this level, which it is so far, right? That could be an entry right off of that even. But it's not that, so it's right here, 16. Am I missing it? I already missed the entry right there. Fuck. Gotta get used to this. Okay, I entered that trade. One-to-one's right there, 42.50. And if that is the PA, 39.50 would be the next target. Wait, what? 59.50. $9.50 would be there, and this would be the final target at 8.625. So get this push up. It's also an AMS entry forming. Which means I can put my stop up below the AMS entry. That should be the one-to-one target here. Okay, there's one-to-one. I'll put my stop below the AMS entry target. So my stop's right here because this is AMS. Right there, that's AMS. So I put my trailer there as well. I hit my one-to-one. You know, arguably I should try to, I'll split that up and do, might stop me out. Yeah, stop me out. All right, no big, decent profits on it. Look at it sweep that. Oof. Tempted to just go right back in there. See if we get reversal PA off of that. Because that's a real big sweep right there. Oh, that's me stopping out early, bud. Come on. That's breaking my management plan. 15. I'm going to go right back in. I don't know. I exited. I'm not gonna do it. I wanted to. That's a nice little sweep right there, but it's against my plan. So I'm not gonna do it. That is sort of frustrating right there. I mean, I had that trade open. If I'm gonna go back in, I'll have to go back in down below. Everything's fucking bullish. We got the sweep there. We're holding the volume and balance there. Dadgummit. Just gave back $100. I'm pause here. I pretty much got risk averse there. By moving my stop early on that AMS. So I should arguably still be in this trade. Hence my frustration with myself, right? So I took my TP at 1-to-1. And then I trailed right here. And that trailer was premature. And that's why I'm upset at myself. It was the right trade. My final target was up here. It is what it is. I'm just sitting here trying to collect my thoughts and realize that I'm a little bit emotionally attached now to the price action. Because I made an error and I feel like I should be in this trade. But I'm not allowing myself to enter based on that emotion. But because I have it, I emotionally want this to dump, because that would validate my stop out. And at the same time, I want to jump in and see it go. I'm not doing any of that. Yeah. It's frustrating. So, emotionally a little bit peeved here. Okay, this is actually just trade 3. So notice I had my other TP here. So this is what's known as bad management. At this point, the real trailer, I shouldn't have had a trailer yet, right? Like, I didn't break any highs. Once I broke this high here, then I have a trailer there, and then there. So this was a mental error that I get to review tomorrow as a lesson and maintaining focus. You know, I lost fucking drawdown on this too because of that. Actually, this trailer should be here, right? Oh, look at that. Right off that TP too. So that would have been the trade there. Ooh. Look at this. That's pretty impulsive, so I'm not gonna be longing that. Notice what we hit, and we're coming off of an H1 projection. Wow. Wowee. What the fuck was that? What in the world was that? Right back to the 7:30 open, notice. That created some SMT with NQ being the higher one. You know, the M15 is definitely, we're holding this fair value gap. Let's see how we behave in this fair value gap. And the opens. That could be just the final liquidity grab, but notice that we hit this second projection on the M3. This broke that now, so that's gone. On the 5 minute, we're in, oh, sorry, that's a 5 minute fair value gap. What am I doing? We're holding, if we hold these levels on M5, this is a continuation in my opinion. There is also a 15 minute fair value gap there. So that could have just been the liquidity grab of all the long positions. We'll have to wait and see. Right, on the M15, what does this look like? Now we closed above that. Again, we're coming off this H1 projection. This is where I get in trouble sometimes. But M3 closed back above there. That is reversal PA, right? On the M3. I mean, that was wild though, wasn't it? Close there on the S10. No AMS out of there. 5 minute held all those levels, but you did, and you haven't really closed below a low. M1's looking like it's going down. Yeah, you could start to form some sort of AMS on the M1 out of here. The 15 moves came back and touched 930 open. Five minute, we're filling this. This is your breaker block on the 5 minute. Notice that we didn't close above that level on the M1. Got some time for AMS to form on the M1, if it's going to. Essentially trying to determine whether this is a final liquidity sweep. Right, it held this. Or whether we're gonna head down for more sell side liquidity. On the hourly, we grabbed it. We had our ghost protocol out of there. Now we hit this H1, but we've got further H1. We've got this 4-hour fair value gap. Right, and effectively we're not going to get our AMS here on that one if we break that high right now. So we did. Is arguably your trade there. Notice that we broke that, so you're not going to get an AMS entry out of that one, right? So it's refuted. So it's looking a little bit like that was just a liquidity sweep again. You held this on the 5 minute. I'm not in any trade, but this could be, this is a viable trade. Back above midnight open. Effectively trading off of that, right? Could have been in right there. Barely tagged in. Now we hit this, so this could be S10 AMS out of here, potentially. If we get a liquidation of that. You've now liquidated this high. Also, so you could trade that, sell side. Trading the current M1 impulse structure. In fact, that entry was right there. Let's It's right back to the midnight open. M3 closed above the midnight open, so it's a little bit skeptical there. $15-minute close back above the midnight open, so that's bullish. I'm seeing more and more that was just a liquidity grab off of this morning run and that we might continue up. But could be wrong. Effectively, I have to look at this as your M1 structure right now. Engineer more liquidity to seek to the downside, even if this is manipulation. We don't have AMS, all we have is that sweep, and that could have been the entry right there. We hit this projection on the M5, M3. Right, reverse, we're coming out of this H1 projection, so. See if we could close down here. Take a step back. Yeah, I mean, this is not looking good. Might just wait for the hour to close, honestly. See what happens on the hourly. We got our trade up to London high, and guess what? It hit an H1 projection, and we're getting... What could be happening? We could be coming down and reaching for all of this. So let's see how the hourly closes. That SMT is gone, but now we have this SMT, I think. Yeah, so now this is SMT. It's just these days where this Q2 range, right? I mean, this Q2 range sucks right now. looking like a liquidity sweep to me, and that we're going to continue up. We've now swept that. So you get it closed back above here on that one. I'm okay trading this structure back to the upside. But if we don't, which it looks like we might not, then that's not going to be a trade. Oh, no close. Now the M3 did close above the midnight open again. M1 still could, and then that would still be valid. Notice that it came back into this. And held that. Right at midnight open. I mean, this daily is just right at the 2-day open. Oh. It's really failure to just place on the M5. You have that order block? Not yet. Notice that it's just not closing, so it's failure to just place on that one as well. Now I really wouldn't want to take it because, you know, you had this hesitation. So I'd rather see it get good impulse through here. I'll probably start that there if it goes. You know, you're bullish on the M3 based on this. That H1 holds, this is really bullish. Yeah, I think this thing's going to continue up. I think that was just a big liquidity sweep. That SMT, that did survive, but this is, yeah, there we go. So I'm starting to look at this now as a structure. Yes, sir. Got that. You know, if it dumps back down, then we might get a massive AMS there, but I don't think so. About to get the close on the hour. Could also form AMS out of this jump start. Is there equals? There's liquidation. Looks like we might get a jump start out of here as well. Potentially. But right now we didn't, and I couldn't trade that AMS because I don't have a liquidity sweep here on this. Unless I use that, I still couldn't. So I'm in the premium of what I'm calling my impulse structure. You know, that filled this fair value gap. That AMS is going to be debunked, so that's no longer valid, and so is this one, so this one's no longer valid. So neither AMS is valid. So at this point, I'd want to see this sweep down into the discount. Could be an inversion to continue. Look at that go. Wow. That is wild. My goodness, how about that? I mean, the liquidity hunt. See, close on this M3 above there. Right back at the midnight open. The hour's got 2 minutes to close. Let's see what happens here. This is just wild. It didn't take that, but it did take M1 liquidity. Did it? Yeah, so you took that M1 liquidity. Technically holding it, but now you created this as a potential order block to the downside. You're right back above there. I mean, this is wild, man. You have potential for AMS to the downside here. That's getting refuted. Now you don't, because you'd make a high there above if you did. H1 projection was hit. Now, this isn't confirmed on the 15 minute. On the 5 minute it was. One minute for the hour to close. But not, I mean, it was because you closed below that sweep. We filled that M3's fair value gap, but we did not fill the M1 fair value gap. We did get a reversal of this. So we refuted that. So you've got this balanced price range here. Could potentially trade from if it ever comes back up there. Might not. Look at this hour candle now. How about that? I closed below 7:30, midnight, everything. Pretty bearish symbol there. This could be our hour open. You know, did we just sweep this liquidity essentially on the hour open, or we're going to go up on the hour? Could we be attacking the high? That would be the trade for that. See if we invert this fair value gap. Or is this fair value gap going to hold, and that was set up for the hourly to continue down? Right, maybe take out this low. Close it below the consequent encroachment. I can't necessarily take the short because let's see if we get an inversion here. Yep, it's an inverse. So if we're looking at this as reversal PA, which it likely could be for the continuation. It's midnight open. Now we are trading in an M3 fair value gap, so we have to be cautious of that. So you got the reversal on that one, but not on the M3. Although arguably your M3 is still in this bullish, right? And we just swept this liquidity. So what we want to see is potentially some sort of entry here. Here's a second projection on that S10 manipulation right there. You swept that as well. You also have this jump start. Actually, it's from here, so it's already been met. So I can see the argument for saying that this was a liquidity sweep. Looking around 15 if we close above there. The 5 minute swept this M5. I wasn't closed above, but it's a pretty strong close. On the M1, you're getting a jump start now. No jump start there. M1 BPR. It's essentially a balanced price range now for the longs. Notice we haven't broken any highs. Just gonna clear this from the chart right now. But we're back above all these opens. I mean, I like a lot about the longs right now, especially this M5 closes above there. That's a reversal PA on M5. Sweep of that, close back above this level. M15 is looking good. M3 would be also the same thing. In a lot of ways, this is failure to this place, right? With higher time frames, but if this does close down here, it's not as good. Someone closed under that balanced price range. We would get another, if we get this close here, this would become a balanced price range for the upside. This is another balanced price range, in fact. If we treat this as the reversal structure, right, I would want to see some sort of M1 ERL, internal ERL swept there. You know, we are holding this balanced price range, which is nice so far. Notice that the M3 is not looking likely to close above this, which would refute the longs. M5, we could still see the M5 close above there. M3 close above, then I really like. And we're respecting this BPR on the M1. Some follow impulse off of it. So that's going to be a closure on the M3. And we've got this fair value gap here. So I would consider this to be bullish PA on the M3. Our M1 impulse is now moving up. So I'd have this as like the continuation impulse if we get a good closure up here. Although it didn't create any fair value gap, so maybe not. What it could be seen is that that's like that now. If we look at this as a manipulation block, we've got that target, fair value gap. Higher time frame fair value gap. If we look at this, we might have already met it. We haven't, so that would just have us breaking the structure. So there's no new impulse up, so I'd wait for a sweep of this level. And into that 3 fair value gap, that could provide a decent entry. 5 minute did close up, so now we're in this 5 minute order block. I could see grabbing an entry somewhere around here. We're in the 3 minute, 5 minute. You know, that was a close on the M1. This came back for that. Could be creating a volume imbalance on the M1. Looks like we are. So unless we create a fair value gap up here, I'm still not considering this impulse. Now, if we charge through there, I would give that impulse as well. It looks like maybe that's what we're gonna do. So this, yep, this is looking like impulse. Shit. Dadgummit, there's AMS right there. That was the entry. Missed it. There we go. Okay. I was tracking that, didn't see it. Missed it. That was the trade, that AMS. There we go. So this was your AMS entry. That'll do it. That's it for me. Not my best day. Could be worse. Could have been worse. There's that drop off of that H4 fair value gap. I'm so tempted to trade that right now, but I won't. Not the best day. Had a nice 1-to-1 to get the pass. I had this trade on the 150Ks. Unfortunately, I was undersized because that was a nice 3-to-1, and then had this trade and bailed early, and so that was quite frustrating because that was also a 2-to-1 trade right there. So those were the 3 trades I took. I missed a few trades. I missed this trade. Sweep of that, tap in there. So that was unfortunate. This trade, I sort of said I missed, but not really. So I missed one trade. And then right there towards the end, we had this AMS that was valid, sort of, right? Because like I was at the top of the structure, and I wanted to see liquidity swept on the M1, and it didn't happen. So now this is looking nice to the upside, but conversely, we're coming off of this. We're coming off of this projection. Look at how that got met. So this one wasn't one. So this is your manipulation block right here. Hit that H4 rejection. So yeah, so could be worse. Another green day. Trading's getting somewhat better. I think I did a little bit better about managing my entries. I almost re-entered here. I did, in fact, up there. Then I got out really quickly because I acknowledged and accepted that I had just messed up, and I need to accept that. So there you have it. That's the day.